Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. The grand dining hall of the Donovan estate glittered with crystal chandeliers, their light reflecting off polished mahogany tables and gleaming silverware. Guests in elegant attire chatted softly, their laughter blending with the soft clink of glasses. It was the night of the annual Donovan Charity Gala, an event that drew the city's elite, and tonight a very unexpected guest. Maya, a quiet woman in her early 30s, stood nervously near the buffet table. Her worn dress and simple shoes made her stand out like a sore thumb among the expensive gowns and tailored suits. She was clutching a large pot tightly, her hands trembling slightly as she walked toward the judging table. Maya was no chef, at least not to these people. To them, she was a tenant, living in the tiny apartment above the Donovans' garage. A woman nobody noticed, a woman they quietly mocked, but tonight she was going to prove them all wrong. She cleared her throat softly as she placed the pot in front of the judges. The room, which had been buzzing moments ago, suddenly fell silent. Curious eyes turned to the modest dish she had brought. Rachel Donovan, the host's wife, was the first to speak, and her words were sharp. "Is that supposed to be food?" she sneered. "It smells like something my dog wouldn't touch." A few guests snickered, clearly enjoying the spectacle. Maya's cheeks flushed, but she held her ground. "It's stew," she said quietly. "A special recipe." The judges leaned in, sniffing the air as if expecting a bad joke. Jacob Donovan, the host and a man known for his icy demeanor, didn't even glance at the dish. "What's the point of this?" he muttered to Rachel, who shrugged, her eyes still sparkling with mockery. Maya looked around the room, noticing the disbelief and sneers. But instead of backing down, she lifted the lid slowly. Steam curled into the air, carrying an unexpected aroma, a mixture of herbs, spices, and something smoky. "This stew," Maya began, her voice steady now, "saved my life." The room shifted uncomfortably. The laughter died down as everyone leaned in to listen. "You don't believe me?" she challenged softly. "I was stranded in the Pyrenees Mountains, lost and hunted for 19 days. This recipe, this stew, kept me alive." Jacob's hand tightened around his glass. His pale eyes betrayed a flicker of fear. "Pyrenees?" Rachel whispered. "What are you talking about?" Maya nodded. 3 years ago, before I was Maya." The room was silent now, all eyes on her. "I wasn't always the quiet tenant you ignored," she said, voice rising slightly. "I was someone else, someone important, but I lost everything because of betrayal." Jacob's face darkened. "You shouldn't say things like that here." Maya's gaze didn't waver. "I'm done hiding." She reached into the pot and scooped up a spoonful of the stew, holding it up for all to see. "Try it, then judge me." Rachel hesitated, then took a tentative bite. Her eyes widened. The guests fell silent once again. This is incredible," Rachel admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Jacob swallowed hard, suddenly feeling the weight of the room's attention. Maya's story begins. Later that night, as the guests drifted away, Maya found herself sitting, alone in the dimly lit garden. The cool night air was a relief after the tension inside. She closed her eyes, memories flooding back. 3 years ago, she was Claire Beaumont, a celebrated chef from Paris, known for her innovative cuisine and her 3 Michelin stars. Her name was on every foodie's lips, her restaurants packed with admirers, but that life was stolen from her. It started with a man she trusted, Jacob Donovan. Jacob wasn't always the cold, distant man she met tonight. He was once a friend, a business partner even. Together they dreamed of opening a chain of exclusive restaurants. But ambition twisted into greed. Jacob betrayed Claire, leaking a scandal that destroyed her reputation overnight. The media tore. Her apart, investors pulled out, and her empire crumbled. Forced to flee France, Claire vanished. She changed her name, her identity, and found refuge in a small apartment in this city, far from the glittering lights of Paris. But she never forgot the taste of revenge, and she never forgot the recipe. The stew was her anchor, a blend of herbs she learned from her grandmother, a recipe she carried even when her world burned down. It was simple but powerful. It nourished her body and spirit during the darkest days. A suspicious encounter. The next morning, Maya awoke to a knock on her apartment door. She opened it cautiously to find a young boy, no older than 10, standing nervously. "Are you Maya?" he asked shyly. She nodded, puzzled. "My name's Leo. I think you should know something about Jacob Donovan." Maya's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" Leo looked around before whispering, "He's hiding something dangerous, and he's watching you." Maya's mind raced. The man she thought she left behind was closer than ever. Morning light filtered softly through the cracked window of Maya's small apartment, but the peaceful quiet was shattered by the presence of Leo, the nervous boy who had appeared at her door the night before. He sat on the edge of her worn-out sofa, fiddling with the strap of his backpack. Maya's mind was racing. How did this boy know so much about Jacob Donovan? And why was Jacob watching her after all this time? "Tell me everything, Leo," Maya said gently. Leo swallowed hard. "I'm sorry to scare you, but it's serious. Jacob, he's not just a businessman. He's involved with dangerous people who don't want anyone digging into his past." Maya frowned. "What kind of people?" Leo looked around nervously, then whispered, "I think criminals, smugglers. They operate in the shadows, and Jacob is their link to the city's richest families." Maya's stomach twisted. She remembered the man she once trusted, the man who had destroyed her life. But she had never imagined he could be involved in something this dark. "How do you know all this?" she asked. Leo hesitated. "My father worked for Jacob, but when he found out the truth, he tried to leave. Jacob made sure he couldn't." Maya's eyes widened. "What happened to your father?" Leo's voice broke. "He disappeared 6 months ago." The past comes back. Maya sat back, the weight of Leo's words settling over her like a storm. Her own memories came flooding back. The betrayal, the fall from grace, the desperate flight from France. She had thought Jacob was just a man, but now it seemed he was far worse. Her mind flashed to the night in the Pyrenees, how she had survived alone in the freezing mountains, hunted by men who wanted her silence. The stew recipe was her lifeline then, and now it was her symbol of strength. She looked down at the worn notebook on her kitchen table. It held all her old recipes, and hidden inside was the story of her survival. Maya's phone buzzed, breaking her thoughts. It was a message from an unknown number. "Stop digging, or you'll disappear like Leo's father." Her heart pounded. The plan Maya knew she couldn't run anymore. The past was catching up, and if she wanted justice, she had to face Jacob and expose the truth, but she couldn't do it alone. She called her old friend and confidant, Mark, a journalist known for his fearless investigations. "Mark," she said over the phone, "I need your help. It's about Jacob Donovan." There was silence on the other end, then a sharp intake of breath. "Maya, I've heard rumors. You're risking everything." "I know, but this time, it's bigger than me. It's about corruption, disappearances, and secrets that could destroy them all." Mark agreed to meet her that evening at a quiet cafe. The meeting as the sun dipped behind the city skyline, Maya sat across from Mark in a dimly lit corner of the cafe. The scent of coffee mingled with tension. Mark slid a folder across the table. "I've been tracking Jacob's activities for months," he said. "There are shell companies, offshore accounts, and connections to illegal trade routes." Maya's fingers trembled as she flipped through the papers. Photos, financial records, and reports that painted a picture darker than she had imagined. "We need proof," Maya said. "Something that ties Jacob directly to Leo's father's disappearance and my own downfall." Mark nodded. "I have a contact, someone on the inside, but it's risky. They're watching us." Maya's resolve hardened. "Then we move carefully, no mistakes." A shadow in the night. That night Maya couldn't sleep. Every sound outside her window made her heart race. Suddenly footsteps echoed in the alley below. She peeked through the curtain and saw a shadowy figure moving toward her building. She grabbed her phone, ready to call Mark, when the power went out. Darkness swallowed her apartment. Her breath caught. The figure was at her door. Cliffhanger. Who was the mysterious visitor? Friend or foe? What secrets would Mark's contact reveal, and how far was Maya willing to go to uncover the truth? The darkness in Maya's apartment felt suffocating. Her breath was shallow, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The power outage was no accident. Someone wanted to frighten her, to silence her. The shadow outside the door paused, then disappeared into the night. Maya's fingers shook as she dialed Mark's number. After several rings, he answered, his voice tense. "Maya, are you okay?" "No. Someone was at my door. The power went out." "I'm scared, Mark. Stay where you are. I'm on my way." The dangerous contact an hour later, Mark arrived with a familiar face. Elena, a former insider who had worked closely with Jacob Donovan's organization but had escaped after growing disillusioned. Elena's eyes darted nervously as she sat down. "Jacob is more dangerous than you think. He's built a network that touches every corner of this city's underworld. Corruption, smuggling, even violence. He hides it all behind his wealth." Maya listened intently. "Why are you helping us?" "Because I want out. And because I believe you can bring him down." Elena handed Maya a flash drive. "This contains documents, emails, transactions, names of people involved. But be careful. If Jacob finds out I talked to you, I'm dead." Maya's hands tightened around the drive. "We have to be smart. The past returns." That night, Maya couldn't shake the memories of her past life. She remembered the bright kitchens of Paris, the rush of creating dishes that told stories. She remembered Jacob's smile, the promises he made, and the knife. He plunged into her back. Her phone buzzed. A message from Leo. "I found something. Meet me tomorrow." The hidden truth. The next day, Maya met Leo in a small park, far from prying eyes. "I found this in my father's old files," Leo said, handing her a worn notebook. Maya flipped through the pages. There were names, dates, codes, evidence, linking Jacob to illegal shipments through the city's port. "This is it," Maya whispered. "Proof Jacob is behind everything." Leo looked worried. "But there's more. My father wrote about a secret meeting. One that's happening tonight." Maya's mind raced. This could be the break they needed. Into the lion's den. That evening, Maya, Mark, and Eleanor prepared to attend the secret meeting, disguised and determined. The location was an abandoned warehouse by the docks, shadows stretching long under. The moonlight. They crept inside, hearts pounding, eyes adjusting to the dim light. Voices echoed. They hid behind crates, listening. Jacob Donovan stood at the center, speaking in low tones with several shadowy figures. "We move the next shipment tomorrow," Jacob said. "No mistakes. If anyone interferes, they disappear." Maya felt bile rise in her throat. This was bigger than she imagined. The unexpected betrayal. Suddenly a hand grabbed Maya's arm. She spun around, ready to fight. But it was Leo. "They know someone's watching," he whispered urgently. "We have to get out." Mark nodded. "We have what we came for. Let's go." As they slipped away, footsteps thundered behind. Then a figure blocked their path. A man Maya recognized from the gala. "Going somewhere," he sneered. "Cliffhanger, will Maya and her friends escape? Who is this man?" And will the evidence they gathered be enough to bring down Jacob Donovan? The man blocking their path was tall and menacing, his eyes cold as steel. Maya's heart hammered, but she stood her ground. "Who are you?" Mark demanded, stepping protectively in front of Maya. The man smiled cruelly. "Name's Victor, Jacob's enforcer." Leo's face paled. "We're trapped." Maya's mind raced, but she refused to show fear. "If you want us gone, you'll have to get through me." Victor laughed. "Brave words. Let's see if you can back them up." A fight for survival before Victor could react. Mark lunged forward, throwing a punch. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Crates toppled, voices shouted. Maya grabbed Leo's hand. "Run!" They darted through the maze of containers, Victor and his men close behind. Adrenaline fueled their escape. Outside, the cold night air hit them like a wave. But Victor's men caught up, surrounding them, just when all seemed lost. Flashing blue and red lights cut through the darkness. Police. The turning point. Jacob Donovan's empire was finally cracking. The police had been tipped off, thanks to Elena's courage and Mark's relentless digging. Victor and his men were arrested on the spot. Jacob, however, was nowhere to be found. The truth revealed. The next morning, the city buzzed with news of the Donovan arrests. The evidence from the flash drive and Leo's files made headlines. Maya was invited to speak at a press conference. She stood before the cameras, her voice steady. "I lost everything because of lies and betrayal," she said, "but truth has power, and justice will always find a way." Jacob's final move. Just as Maya thought it was over, her phone buzzed again, a text from an unknown number. "This isn't the end, Maya. I'm coming for you." Her heart sank. But this time, she wasn't alone. A new beginning days later. Maya sat in her small kitchen, cooking the stew that had saved her life. Leo sat beside her, smiling. Mark and Elena were there too, helping rebuild their lives. The scars of the past remained, but so did the hope for the future. Maya knew the road ahead would be hard, but she had faced darkness and survived. She was no longer the quiet tenant. She was a survivor, a fighter, and most importantly, free. Final words. The laughter that once mocked her cooking had turned into silence, and now respect. Maya's story was not just about a simple stew. It was about resilience, truth, and the strength to rise when the world tries to crush you. And this was only the beginning.